Hello, my name is Heather Wright. I was married this year on May 25th. For the records at Santa Fe, my last name will actually be Gilliam. So, to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up in a suburb called Aurora, Illinois, which is just southwest of Chicago. It's about an hour southwest of Chicago. I went to high school there, and while in high school, I was involved in a program called DECA. And DECA is an amazing program for students. And what they do is they actually decide for you what your career path would be based on a few surveys that you take. So, unbeknownst to me at the time, what they had determined was that I would be best suited for the banking industry. So, my teacher in DECA got me a job as a part-time bank teller. So while I was still in high school, I worked part-time at a bank there in Aurora. And after graduating, they hired me on full-time at the bank. So I was working full-time at the bank and had decided, of course, previously to also enroll in a full-time course of college semester credit hours. So I went from being an A-plus student to failing miserably in my first year of college because it was very, very difficult to work full-time and go to college full-time. So after that horrible experience, I moved from Aurora, Illinois to Gainesville, Florida with some friends from high school. So when I first moved here, I started working at Gainesville State Bank, and I worked full-time there. I worked from 7 to 7, and while I was working there, they actually merged into another bank, which was Compass Bank, which is still in existence here. So I did live through a bank merger, which is very, very, very trying. But I made it through it. But because it was so difficult, I decided to move from Gainesville State Bank, from Compass Bank, on to what is Campus USA Credit Union. So Campus USA Credit Union was my first experience in the credit union world, and I absolutely loved the credit union world. It was so different than the banking industry. So the difference is primarily with credit unions than banks are more geared towards just you're a number, you're not really a person, and a credit union really cares about the people that they serve and the communities that they serve. So for me, it's a very good feeling at the end of the day as to who you help, and the people that I see them on the streets or in Publix, and I do help a lot of people, so I just love the credit union world. So for me, I know the rest of my life will always be within a credit union industry in some way, shape, or form, and that stems from my very first job at a Campus USA credit union. So I was working there part-time, and while I was working there, I did get a phone call from my mom, and she told me that my grandma had fallen ill, and she asked me if I would come home and help her take care of my ailing grandmother. So I did. I moved home and helped her while my grandmother was sick, and I lived at home with her for about 2 years in Chicago. While I was there, I did work at a bank, while other jobs as well, just to help her and help my grandmother until she passed away. After she passed away, I did move back to Gainesville because that was always my intention. When I came back to Gainesville, I planned on working at campus, but unfortunately they did not have any positions open for me. So I got a job at Sun State Federal Credit Union. And I started working at Sun State in the member service position, which was a little bit different for me. It is quite different than a teller position, but I decided to give it a shot when I got here, and it was a good decision for me at the time. I floated to several different offices when I was there, and while I was working there, I met a gentleman by the name of Douglas Robertson. So, in case you don't know, he works in our business department at Santa Fe College. A wonderful, wonderful man. I attribute much of my career path to him, actually. And what he did is he sat down with me at Sun State and asked me where I was going to school. So I told him at the time about my horrible experience the first go around. in college, and he told me that he thought I should give it another shot. So after talking to him and doing some research on the programs at Santa Fe, I decided that I would give it another shot. I enrolled in Santa Fe and I obtained my AS degree. So I thought at the time that the AS degree would be best suited for me because I had no intentions of really going back to college, and I decided that would be better than the AA degree. So after I got my AS degree, I decided through a mutual friend of mine that I should switch my career paths and move on a little bit further and change to Florida Credit Union. So I was with a friend of mine who I was working with. His name was Tony, and his wife worked at Florida Credit Union, and she asked me to come and speak to her and approached me about moving to Florida Credit Union because she knew I was very good in sales. So she moved me to Florida Credit Union about 7 years ago, and she was my boss for about 3 years until I was promoted at Florida Credit Union into a management position. They moved me from our call center position into our position over in Stark, Florida, where I managed there for roughly about 8 months. That branch was one of our smallest locations and our smallest branch, and I increased the sales and the profitability in that branch about 3 times the size that it was in the 8 months that I was there. So after those 8 months, they promoted me into what is our largest branch at Florida Credit Union, which is where I'm at today, and that's our 13th Street Advantage Center, where we are open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 to 5 on Saturday. And roughly our asset size at just this location is about $700,000 of our $500 million that we finally surpassed this year, so that's exciting news. But this branch is our largest branch for transaction-wise, employee-wise, and asset size and return on asset size as well. So I'm excited about my position here at Florida Credit Union. The reason that I'm in this program for our BAS in organizational management is because it is a requirement, of course, to have a bachelor's degree of some sort. And I was reluctant to enroll in UF because truly I do love Santa Fe College for several reasons. I just love the class size overall and the relationships that you do have with the teachers at Santa Fe that you would not get at a larger college like UF. So I was really excited when I found out that they were offering a business bachelor's program at Santa Fe. So that was why I decided to enroll in the bachelor's program here. And I am looking forward to learning more about management. I think I lack some of the skills simply because I jumped into management directly from a entry-level position here and hadn't gotten the education that I think I need to further my career. I intend to move on past this position in hopes to one day become a CEO of a much larger credit union, if not this credit union, but I do know that I will forever work at a credit union, and this is one step forward in that career path. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.